When they heard about the fire and explosion in West, the crew at the Air Evac Lifeteam started preparing in case they were called in to assist. They received that call at 8:20 p.m., and the crew shares their experience from West.
Well, you could obviously see the fire from a distance, and there were multiple smaller fires around it. A lot of red and blue lights, and actually along 35 as it ran past there, you could see the traffic was stopped and backed up. There were cars just lined up. It was dark by that time, but you could see all the lights.
Well, your training kind of kicks in, and you start thinking about patient injuries, secondary injuries, how you're going to treat those patients, what's your first line defense on treating those patients. So that's really what's going through your mind, is what are my possibilities of possible injuries, and what am I going to do for those patients, and to be quick and efficient about it.
And we're also surveying the LZ that they've given us, especially with multiple aircraft coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We're surveying that and, looking out for our safety, the safety of other air crews, and the people on the ground, getting on the ground safely.
There were 5 on the ground already.
Okay.
Whenever we were getting dispatched to RLZ, and then there was 3 other helicopters that were news helicopters that were away from
Mm-hmm.
our helicopters that were surveying the scene.
Okay.
Originally, we landed a couple miles down the road by a
Next to
school. Yeah, by a school, and then they moved us
Okay.
to the community center, which was by the football field you saw on TV.
Okay.
When we first got there for our first LZ, there was we were given a number.
Mm-hmm.
So, and by that number is how you got your patient. So we all went to the road to await our ambulances to come to us. So we assisted the first helicopters there with their patients, helped get them loaded and get them taken off. We were last to leave that scene, and when we left, we went to our alternate LZ, and that's where we found our patient in an ambulance.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a triage area, and they were sending out ground units with patients also. And the ones they were bringing to the helicopters, they were sending them to the LZ in ambulances. So they were just delivering us the patients that they were bringing us for transport.
Can you describe?
The school that we were next to, its alarms were going off,
Mm-hmm.
and the windows have been blown out of that school. There was just lots of fire trucks in front of us fighting containing a small fire that was over in that area. Other than that, we really couldn't see a lot from where we were at.
Okay.
I do not. I think we were less than a half a mile.
Yeah, we were pretty.
I think
Where
by
that school
looks
is
at the
at.
map, that the distance to the staging area for the aircraft was probably 1,500 yards to 2,000 yards away. So close to half a mile to a mile, roughly.
Actually, there was not a lot of chaos.
Okay.
For our end and from the ambulance services that were bringing us the patients, they were so efficient, and they had already done excellent patient care by the time they started bringing the patients to the helicopters. So, we assisted the first one. The first one that got their flight was PHI. We assisted them and helped them load. The second one was Air Evac and another care flight one. There was no chaos. It was just so controlled. Definitely.
There were departments from the cities around there too. It was amazing because, those people were looking for their coworkers and their family and their neighbors, and they were all doing their job. And I can't imagine how difficult that would be.
Yeah, in that situation, the city of West is about 2,500 people. So all the agencies in that vicinity are volunteer agencies.
Mm-hmm.
So these are people that work at the grocery stores and the car dealerships, and that respond to these emergencies. And unfortunately, there were lots of friends and colleagues of theirs that were missing,
Mm-hmm.
that they couldn't be accounted for, that were possibly around the blast area or in the process of assisting with evacuations when the blast occurred. And it's phenomenal listening to the ladies talk about the response and the responses I've seen over all the years, that your training kicks in and you know what you have to do, and then fortunately you have to put your personal thoughts and feelings aside and take care of your safety and your partner's safety and your patients. And you just, everybody kind of falls into a role, and it sounds like this worked pretty efficiently, and despite the chaos and the uncertainty of knowing where their friends and family were, you know, and it's very hard. It'd be very similar if something like that happened in this area.
Yeah.
So it hits home because, you know, our scenario here would be really, really similar in the fact that so many people were connected indirectly, you know.
Yeah,
Probably.
with so many red and blue flashing lights, it really did look like hundreds. There was just so many agencies and red and blue lights going on.
There was,
Whenever we landed
law enforcement,
in that
everything.
community center parking lot, or wherever it was, there was just lines of EMS ambulances and lines of first responder vehicles and fire trucks, and everyone out there in their bunker gear, just unloading food for people, getting supplies for people. It was
Ready
amazing.
to do whatever was needed. A lot of fire apparatus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about 4 a.m. From some of the people in command in that location, they had actually put the word out to tell people to stay away. They had
They had
been
plenty of
inundated with responders and just citizens that had seen it and had drove in to assist. So they have all the help they need at this point. You know, it was phenomenal, I think, the response.
Or was it?
Yeah, with the hazmat scene, they're gonna land you, or they're gonna set up their areas upwind and over a mile away.
Okay.
And so anywhere where there might be like hazardous chemicals or fumes, they keep you out of that area. They don't wanna cause, you know, secondary damage from other things.
I really didn't smell anything off at all.
Okay.
It was just that smoky burn smell that you would smell at any fire
Yeah.
that I smelled. It's about, you know, praying for the families.
Our crew
Just-
there at the base in West.
Yeah, thinking about our friends at the West base and how.
So y'all
hard
have
it
a
is.
base in West?
Yes.
We
It was
did.
very close to the site it was damaged.
Oh wow.
Yeah, our base that's there, this base has been here 10 years. The West base has been there 11.
Oh wow.
Very close-knit family with the West EMS and fire department, and they were about 1,000 yards, give or take, from the blast site. So some of the more damaged buildings and facilities were in the area location of our base. So the base itself is probably unsalvageable at this point. There was significant damage to the aircraft that they had sitting there.
So how many people work at that base?
It's very similar to this. There's a crew of 3 on, a pilot and 2 medical crew members. Luckily, no one was injured at the base when it happened. But we do have, it's like here, you know, these, you know, Jackie and Dolette live here. You know, if something happened in our area, the chance of them being affected while off duty would be significant. And we had a couple of the crew members that lived there that were directly affected in their home. One was actually treated at a hospital and released, from what I understand. So, but everybody was accounted for and is healthy at this point.
So are y'all planning on doing any kind of drive to kind of help your fellow you know, workers from that base?
I'm going to be in contact with the program director, my counterpart there in West, and I haven't bothered him lately because he's so busy with the coordination effort. But yeah, we would possibly, you know, I've had calls from Guardian and local agencies, other EMSs, and other bases in our system further west that are offering assistance both to the general victim of the incident, but then more specifically to our crew members that were affected. So we might be doing something. We just got to find out what they need. We don't want to inundate the system with an abundance of one particular thing that's not necessary. So it might be a day or two, but we may locally over there. The biggest items, if people want to help, are the necessities. It's not necessarily clothes so much as it is food, toiletry items, the necessities of basic life, water, and I think the hospitals in the Waco area were really needing blood. So they were doing a blood drive all day today, at Hillcrest and Waco.
Yeah.
So people can go, or have their families that live in that area go to Hillcrest and donate blood. That'd be tremendous.
And they said it would be ongoing because it would be a consistent thing, so, you know, even if you couldn't go today, if you go next week, it still helps to replenish.
Exactly. Because a lot of these people that were significantly injured will have multiple surgeries
Yeah.
from their injuries, so.